What's up, people? Marjack79 here. We are back again today with another DC movie review. And that is right, people. As you can see by the title, Aquaman was a decently good movie. It was not bad, man. So that is a very good surprise for me, because I tell you what, man, I went into this movie not expecting anything good, to be completely honest. I thought it was gonna bomb, from the trailers that I saw. I think it was like one trailer that I saw where I was like, it might be okay. It definitely had its moments where it started off pretty slow, but the climax and the journey that King Arthur takes throughout the movie, it was definitely a really good, feel-good popcorn flick. It definitely has some good elements and some good arcs in the story that kept the ride pretty magical, I would say so myself. So, what made it good? So, I think probably my favorite story arc in the movie was the arc of Arthur's parents. The story of kind of like a synopsis, but just them meeting each other and falling in love and then being forced apart. And then, the climax of that story part was definitely my favorite aspect, story-wise, of the movie. I really, really enjoyed that. That story, it was that classic tale of, that no matter what, if the love is real, you can find a way to make it work. Because, there's so much turmoil and sadness and suffering in the world, especially when it comes to our relationships. Not myself in general. I got lucky in that department of life, but it was definitely just it felt really good to see that romanticism represented in a DC comic book movie. So it was really good. Now, to talk about King Arthur himself and just about his journey from the start of the movie, where it's kind of like obviously the story takes place like after Justice League, so so his name is pretty much out there now. The general population kind of know who he is and kind of knows of his powers. So the general direction that the story takes, it really does a good job of dissecting his character and like understanding his motivations and why he kind of wants to stay out of the conflict that's going on in Atlantis at first, but once stuff really starts to hit the fan and stuff gets real, then he really takes the gloves off and he really comes into his character to fulfill his destiny to become the king of Atlantis. And it was really, really good. Like I said, it definitely had its slow moments. The introduction on some of the characters was a little bit some of the side characters, more specifically, I don't know if I really enjoyed William Dafoe's character. His character was a little bit weird for me, because I think I will always see him as a villain, so I kept waiting for his character to do that traitorish, that transform. He's gonna turn on him, but it never happened. No, that was just kind of weird for me. A little bit of a nitpick. His part definitely didn't destroy the movie, but I don't know. I just didn't. I just wasn't feeling him as that Mr. Miyagi, that Master Roshi, kind of that trainer role to because he was the one that showed Arthur how to fight and how to swim, and Atlantean, and I don't know. I just wasn't. It wasn't very believable, if that makes sense. Another thing that was a little bit weird for me was it was definitely some spotty digital rendering of Arthur's dad, or the actor that played Arthur's dad, when they were trying to make him seem younger, because the beginning of the movie takes place 20 something years in the past or whatever. I feel like they did a decent job with Nicole Kidman, because I feel like she kind of looks the same from the early 90s to the late 80s to now, so they really didn't have to do much to her. But like I said, the actor that played Arthur's dad, oh man, there was like a lot of like shifting in his face. You know, his eyes were kind of way too bubbly a little bit. You could definitely tell it was a computer render of the actor that played his dad 20 years in the past. So they definitely got some work to do in that department, DC Studios. But I mean, it wasn't like god awful, but it wasn't good either. So moving on from that, now definitely getting to see Atlantis for the first time was pretty cool, but I kind of got a sense that it was just an underwater Pandora. I don't know. There's no way I was the only one that felt that. Like, you know, when they first like are in the ship and they go to Atlantis, and I don't know, just the lights and the buildings and the architecture, just really gave me a sense that I was back in Pandora from Avatar. So it was cool though, but you know, it's just what I felt like. You know, I've always mentioned that, you know, every good superhero movie is defined by its villain. I liked Arthur's brother, or his half brother. That his character aspect was really good. I mean, I kind of understood his motivations. I mean, it was the typical, you know, he wants to unite all the kingdoms of Atlantis so that he can go to the surface world and take over, blah blah blah. We've heard this story a thousand times over if you're any fan of DC Comics. So that arc was pretty cool, but the arc played by Black Manta. So I don't know, man. I don't know the exact comic book origin of Black Manta, but if it was anything close to how it was in the movie, I don't know how I feel about it, man. It's just, I mean, I get it. I mean, they kind of try to put the blame on Arthur for his father dying, but I feel like it was his fault though, because I mean, he shoots the gun at Arthur and causes the explosion of why he gets trapped. And I mean, it's not Arthur's responsibility to ensure their safety. So, you know, of course, he called back for Arthur to come back and save them, and Arthur was like, no. But I feel like that's kind of a weird motivation to want to, you know, kill him. I don't know. I found that really weird and just strange to be that angry over that. So, I mean, I guess, it's a plot device to keep the story moving forward, but probably not something that I would have chosen. But I am curious. I do need to research to see if that's how his comic book origin came about as well. So the other like major supporting character is Myra. So it's funny that like all the female population and like wanted to see Aquaman for Jason Momoa, obviously, but you know, but from a male perspective, you know, Myra is pretty easy on the eyes too. You know, I really liked her character in the movie too. You know, she was definitely never a damsel in distress. Like, she never played that role. She was definitely more of a partner, you know, supportive role to Arthur into helping him become who he needed to be to save Atlantis. And, you know, it was really good, man. She was definitely probably one of my favorite supporting characters in quite some time, man. I almost enjoyed her character almost as much as Arthur's character. It was actually, I would say, it was probably 30% of her story compared to 70% of his story. So just the partnership and the dynamic between those two characters was really good. I feel like some of the camera close-ups that they would put on her to try to make the audience understand that, you know, they're falling in love. When it would do like a pan around, and she would like turn around and like look at him and be like, all right, okay, we get it, dude. a few of those was a little bit weird to me, but you know, I get it though. It was cool. So, you know, going into like the fight scenes and whatnot, some of them were good, some of them were not good. The big, the first fight between Arthur and Orin it was a little bit weak in my opinion. I wasn't really feeling it. The underwater fight is the one I'm referring to. Not my favorite at all. Definitely the some of the chase scenes between Arthur and Myra and Black Manta. That was probably my favorite fight scene. Kind of like, yeah, that was, and a lot of that was in the trailer as well. But I feel like that ended up being probably my favorite, quote unquote, fight action scene in the entire movie. It definitely has some definitely good final battle scenes too, like the fight with the big octopus thing for him to get the king's armor, and then the final fight with Orm as well. Definitely it was definitely satisfying. Definitely not the best I've seen in the DC universe. I still think the Superman versus General Zod is probably my favorite fight out of this line of DC movies. It was a really good film. It definitely is not like Oscar worthy or like the best film in the DC universe. If I had to rank them, I would still say the Wonder Woman is still the best, followed by Man of Steel. Yes, Man of Steel was a decent film, people. I don't, I never understand why people hate on Man of Steel like that. It was dark and gritty, but it had some of the best action scenes I think I've ever seen in a film, though. So, but if I had to place Aquaman, I would definitely put him third, right behind Man of Steel and Wonder Woman, with Justice League in fourth, and then Batman v Superman still in fifth. Kind of, well, actually, I always forget about Suicide Squad. I would put Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, Aquaman, Justice League, Suicide Squad, and then Batman v Superman last. So yeah, that's how I would do it. Alright, man, so that's really about it, so if I had to give like a number rating on Aquaman, I would go 6.5 out of 10. It was enjoyable. Is it something that I could sit through and watch the entire movie again? Probably not. But I wouldn't mind seeing some of the fight scenes and some of the action scenes again, and looking at Myra in her skin tight outfit. That's always nice. So yeah, man. So if you had similar thoughts about it, let me know in the comments below. If you hated the film, let me know in the comments below as well, and let's talk about it. So if you enjoyed the video, hopefully you did, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you want to see more movie reviews from me, I still need to go see Bumblebee. That's probably the most likely the next movie that I will go see and review. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow me at youtube.com/markjack779. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at markjack79. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye.